You're right in front of the Thunderbird F-16. That is the Geico-sponsored Skytypers. One of 2 units in the world that put out a message in the sky with smoke, but they actually do it instead of swift. They do it in wingtip formation by putting out various size dots across the sky to put their message in the sky, whether it's Geico or any other product. They have carried the banner for a number of products over the years. They are the creation of the Stennis family, starting with Andy Stennis. After World War II, the SNJ2 model is what he chose. They had a West Coast unit based in Los Angeles, actually the Long Beach airport, that worked over the beaches and did something lotion or a particular nightclub or whatever. You see the aircraft painted up with the Geico logo on the side. It is a patented type of message. It is very unique, and these are the only U.S. and North American-based groups that can do this because of that tightly held patent. From Andy Stennis, they changed it over and gave it to the second generation Stennis. That was Greg. And last year at the Ringo Air Races, I met the grandson, who's now carrying on the tradition on the West Coast. A very held, tightly held family company. Top of the runway is the A-10 Thunderbolt 2, one of the most successful aircraft. In terms of what it accomplished, the airplane meant to be able to destroy the enemy's tanks, and during Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield, it did its job. A-10 Thunderbolt 2, called the Warthog by the pilots who fly them and the crews who maintain them. Twin-engine, twin-boom aircraft with redundant systems. A-10 Thunderbolt 2, named after the World War II P-47 fighter, the Republic Thunderbolt fighter. With a tradition of being built in the state of New York by New York Aviation Company, taxiing in front of you with a yellow and black checker nose is the P-51. This is the D model with a clear canopy behind the pilot. And below you can see that radiator inlet, like the radiator on your Ford car or truck. Cool air comes in the front, just like your car and truck. Your Ford, it goes out the rear. And out that scoop in back. You see that scoop is down and open. That releases the hot air. So ingenious was that design, that door and back, that they actually got jet thrust out that rear door. It was called the Meredith effect. And instead of being an item of drag, that radiator that is, out there in the air, instead of being inefficient because of 300 pounds of jet thrust, propulsion. Ingenious. Meredith effect it was called. Absolutely ingenious for World War II. It had a laminar flow wing, that being the P-51 Mustang. That gave it its speed. It started out with the wrong engine. It was an American-built Allison V12 engine. Didn't have the attributes to take the airplane up into the dogfight arena. It was relegated to about 25,000 feet or below, and it was called an attack airplane with that engine. But as the war progressed, they put the same engine that was on the Supermarine Spitfire. That's a big Rolls-Royce Merlin engine with a two-stage supercharger that allowed the P-51 to get up into the dogfight arena from 25,000 feet up to 35,000 feet. It increased the speed by 100 miles per hour, from about 350 up to 450 or 500 miles an hour or so. Sometimes even higher in the recon capability. Look high and to your left, coming in over the top of the A-10 Thunderbolt 2 is a fighter that reminds me of Vietnam more than any other fighter, used by both the Navy and Marines. Later acquired by Douglas Aviation, McDonnell Douglas Aviation. First flew May 27, 1953. There's the A-10 Thunderbolt 2 with the battery back twin quiet engines in back, twin tail on the aircraft, 400 rounds per minute Gatling gun that is actually surrounded by the fuselage. They built that fuselage around the Gatling gun. The first Air Force pilot to fly that was the Colonel, Buzz Lynch, who did the A-10 versus the A-9 competition. And he said in his evaluation, being the first Air Force pilot to fly this, it was hands down this airplane for so many reasons, even to the point of loading the munition underneath the wing at hard point. They are upgrading that airplane, putting bigger engines on it for the high altitude, hot airports in countries like Afghanistan. And while it is called the Warthog, the upgrade program is known as the Platinum Pig program or the Silver Sow. 70 a second, 4,000 rounds a minute, right? Yeah, 170 a second? Exactly. 70 a second, okay. Approximately, thank you. Anyway, enough to get the job done. The cannon shell, which is 30 millimeter, is meant to pierce the armor of a tank. Once inside the tank, it is not meant to go out the other side. It merely ricochets around the inside, destroys the radios, destroys the hydraulics, destroys all the controls and anything that's useful. So one minute you have an enemy tank, the next minute you have a pile of scrap heap. Look lower to your left, the F-4 Phantom with its drogue chute, which was common for that airplane. This airplane, too, the only airplane that was ever used by both the United States Air Force Thunderbirds and the United States Navy Blue Angels simultaneously. In fact, if you ever go to the Cleveland National Air Show at the Cleveland Berkeley Front Airport, there is a monument there called the Marjorie Rosenbaum Plaza. There on pedestals, there are two of these F-4s, like the one with the parachute, one painted in the colors of the Blue Angels, one painted in the color of the Thunderbirds. They are up on pedestals, they are facing one another, they are backlit and bottom lit at night. There's a big wall with a poem of the high flight poem. And around there are pedestals of all the great air racing giants of the Cleveland days, air show giants, a Hollywood Walk of Fame where you can look down at the concrete and see the caricatures of all the air show stars.